welcome back. We're going to continue talking about React Native. In the first couple lessons, we got started with Expo. We installed Expo. We created a new React Native project, and we set up this list view here. Okay. So in this lesson, what I'd like to do is kind of like fix this list up so it looks better and pull the data that we want to display out of our JSON file. Okay. So in the previous video, I mentioned that you wanted to get the keys here, right? So keys is going to give you the key here for each of these objects. And we actually are doing a little more work. So the data we're getting is not this data directly. It's the data that's coming from this file. And this file is adding a new breed property to each object, right? So it's turning it into an array, and then it's adding a special breed property there. Okay, so we won't want to display the breed because we want to display that here, but we want to display all the other properties down below. So before we display the other properties, let's make the name of the breed a little bit larger so it stands apart from everything else. I'm going to go to this label down here and set the font size to 28. Okay, there we go, right? So you got 28 there. We already set this up in the last video where we had some properties here. I made a mistake in the last video, and I realized that when I did the last video, I actually typed styles here with an S, which is incorrect. It should have been style without the S. Okay, so be sure to fix that. Okay, so there we go. Let's add a little bit of space around the top and bottom to separate each breed from the previous breed. So we can do that by adding a little bit of padding here on the container. So I'll put in padding, and let's do a padding of 10. Right, that doesn't look too bad. Now you'll notice that this doesn't go all the way to the edge. Let's try a quick experiment here. If I add a background color to the cell, you can see each cell is red, and what's happening is the cell is not reaching to the edges of the box or the edges of the screen. Okay, let's put a tiny bit of margin in there too, just for fun. Why don't we do margin of 1? Okay, so now you can see each cell is separated here, and it just stops at the edge there. Now what's happening is the cell is going to the edge of its container, right? But the container here is not going to the edge of the screen. So to fix that, we have to go to app.js, and this view right here is what's constraining us, right? So we're just the widest of the widest text object here. So like color point short hair is the widest cat in the list. So this cat is determining how wide everything here is, right? So in general, like the views want to collapse to the minimum size around their content. But what we want is we want the opposite behavior. We want a view to expand to fill the space available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this view a width of 100%. And you can do that a couple ways. So let's do, let's call this list container, and I'll add a new property here to my list, and this property will give it a style of width of, and units, normally you don't use any units in React Native, except the % is a unit that you can use. It's so useful, I guess they just had to put it in there, right? So if I say 100%, I have to put the quotation marks around it, so width can be 100%, and that's okay. So let's use the width now. So on this view right here, I'm going to add style, not styles with an S, and then I'll put in styles with an S this time because it's the name of the property, and then I'll do list container. Okay, so now I've got list container. It's 100% width, and you can see these cells go all the way across now. So that's kind of looking a lot better, except for the red color, right? But we just put the red in there for, you know, just a view, just to see where that view was, right? So we can comment that out for now. So I'm back in item now, okay? So I've got this, and now I want to list the name of the properties underneath here. So we have an array here, and when you use object keys, you supply an object, and then object.keys returns an array of strings where each string is one of the key values in this object, okay? So let's map that into text objects. So I'm going to say keys.map, and then this will be the key, and then we're going to return a text object, and the value will be the key, okay? Let's see. Oh, there we go. So now I've got American bobtail is number 1, and then affectionate with family, amount of shedding, and all these other things, right? So that's looking pretty good. This text is a little bit small, so maybe we want to apply a style to it, right? And also I'm missing the values here, okay? And the breed down here appears again. So actually I don't want it to say breed and then American bobtail, right? Or breed and then, you know, American short hair, right? Because it already says the name up here. So we should filter that out. So why don't we do this? Let's do that here. We got object keys, and then we can say filter. You know, we have an array, so let's filter it. This is going to be the key, and I'm going to return the key does not equal breed. Okay, so if the key does not equal breed, this is true, and we get to keep that key. And if it does equal breed, this is, or if it does not, yeah, if it does equal breed, this is not true, so we're not going to keep that key. Okay, so if I save this, then that should remove breed from the list. Okay, so that got us started there. So now we got to get the values, right? So to print the value in here, we have the data object here, and this key actually matches, or every key in here matches one of the properties here. So maybe we can just do this. We can say data bracket and then put the key here, right? And so now I can see that, you know, American curl is affectionate with family 5, amount of shedding is 4, general health is 5, healthy cat, right? Tendency to vocalize is loud, healthy cat, right? Maybe they like to, you know, just say how healthy they are, right? Anyway, so you can see that. And if you have dogs that has like 10 times, there's like twice the information for every dog, right? So there's like 10 times as much stuff. There's a lot more dog breeds too. So anyway, so that got started pretty good. So the next step here is that we can style it, right? So add some other properties there, and you know, other style properties, and try and style this and get it to look like something. And you can add more tags around these other elements, right? The other thing that I want to do with the style is we can, one of the challenges that I have is replace the number with some stars, and you can use the emoji symbol. So I'll go up to view emojis and symbols, and what do we got here for stars? So we got this star right here. So we can do a list of these, you know. That'd be like 3 stars, right? There's another black and white star too, so you could use that one. Let's see, star. There's like this one right here works, right? So you could do this star. Right, so any one of those stars would work. So imagine that we have a number 4 and we want to show 4 stars. Okay, so there's one challenge, right? Display value as stars. And then the other challenge here is to move the value, whether stars or number, move it over to the right side. Okay, so to do that, you'll have to make a more complicated component here. So I feel like actually this whole thing, the property display, could be its own component, and you could pass in the key or the name and the rating separately, and then it could determine whether it wanted to turn the rating into stars and do the work for that. Okay, so that's my challenge to you, is create a component here that displays one of these rows, and it's going to display the name and the value. And then if you want, stretch challenge is to display the value as a number of stars, and then put the value on the right side and the name on the left. And you can do that with Flexbox, right? Sorry, my phone rang. Don't you hate it when it rings and then it says potential spam? Why even ring? I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.